I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All 6 of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is another paid request, this time from Jay. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Falling Down. The adventures of an ordinary man at war with the everyday world. A tale of urban reality. And honestly, this film is just as prevalent, it works just as well today as it did back then. I definitely think this is one of Michael Douglas's best performances. Joel Schumacher, people go, he did direct, what, because of Batman and Robin, Batman Forever? Joel Schumacher did Phone Booth, he did The Lost Boys, he did A Time to Kill, he did this film, he did 8mm. Joel Schumacher's done plenty of films. DC Cab I enjoy. Flatliners. He's done plenty of films that showcase that he knows what he's doing behind the camera. May he rest in peace. But the weird thing about this film is, as I'm watching it, this was Joker before Joker. I mean, yeah, Joker came out, which I enjoyed, and the comparisons were made to Taxi Driver, but you can also make the comparisons to this. You know, a guy who is pushed and pushed, and what does the Joker, not in that movie, but in general say, that it just takes like one day for your world to fall apart. That's not the exact quote, but this is a guy who is not really a villain, but kind of turns into one, to the point Michael Douglas literally says, I'm the bad guy? When did that happen? I did everything he told me to do. And it's this interesting thing where you will, if you look at reviews, comments, there's a lot of people that identify with this character. And in a weird way, I do too, to a point where the craziness of everyday life, and it makes you go, how the hell can anyone be sane in the world? Especially in the world of today, let alone back then. How can anyone be sane in the world? That's the more shocking notion. Because while Michael Douglas, what he's doing is not right. Like, you can't go into a burger joint with a fucking machine gun and, granted, accidentally, you shoot the ceiling up. You can't wreck a shop because a guy's an asshole and he's charging too much for a soda. Like, you can't do this or there would be pure anarchy. But so many times you understand it. And I think there's a dark part of a lot of us. I think, sadly, when this film came out, it did nothing at the box office. No Oscars, which I do think is good enough to warrant that, but once again, it shows that the Oscars are worthless piles of shit. But at least for screenplay and Michael Douglas' performance, I think it's that good. And Robert Duvall, very interesting type of cop. Does he have the typical, oh, the cop is his last day? But it's not the typical cliche last cop, but cop on his last day. There's more to Robert Duvall's character. There's the why he's retiring. It's because his wife is telling him to, because they had a kid who died, and he tells a story to his former partner, Rachel Ticotin, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, Rachel Ticotin, who was in Total Recall. And he tells about how he went home and she was on the floor and she thought I was dead, and how this is a guy who is very put his head down, he goes through, he lets people say what they want, and throughout the movie, Robert Duvall gets more and more assertive, to the point before the boss like, I don't trust someone who doesn't cuss, and then at the end he cusses the fucking boss out right in front of the news cameras, or he punches his one asshole out in the police station, talking smack to about his wife. So you see sort of Robert Duvall's journey, and Robert Duvall's a great actor. And then Michael Douglas, like this whole thing, the whole look, the white shirt, the tie, the crew cut, the glasses, which of course at one point breaks as if his psyche is shattering. But again, it's that thing where you understand in a weird way his point of view. And I think Joel Schumacher doesn't get enough credit directing the film, where the beginning of the movie, where you get these up-close shots of Michael Douglas in traffic, and then the camera's panning around and showcasing the insanity. People talking loudly on their phones, kids screaming, this screwy, funky, scary-looking Garfield, the cat, plushie on the window, and this fly that keeps messing with him. And then you get these like up close shots of the soundtrack going up more and more and more until suddenly he's had enough and he leaves his traffic. And he's like, I'm going home. And then it's this adventure where again he's doing stuff that's not right, but you perfectly get it and feel sympathy for, to the point that honestly there's a part of me that likes him more than his ex-wife, played by Barbara Hershey. And honestly, Barbara Hershey, the way I see it, she came off as a bitch, and I felt more sorry for Michael Douglas's character to a point where, but on the flip side, there's that part of your brain that goes, okay, I get it, because he has these violent tendencies and she just wants to protect her kid. So it's like, I get it. But it is this weird dynamic where there's a lot of people who relate to a lot of things that Michael Douglas's character is saying or doing, like going to a store and this guy who you can't understand, and he's like, what's a 5? Okay, there's a V in it, 5. Okay, V. They don't have V's in China. No grace to speak my language. No, I stay. And that's not the right thing to say. And a bit racist. But on the flip side, it's just him being frustrated by this guy who's being a complete dick, who won't give him change for a fucking phone call, say you have to buy something, and then a fucking can of soda for 85 cents, which nowadays is like, that's normal or more, but back then was like, what? 85 cents for one can? And there's that almost sick fantasy part of you that gets shown through this character's portrayal, Michael Douglas's portrayal, where it's like, fuck, I'm gonna take your bat, they don't spam me, I'm gonna fuck up your shop, I'm gonna tell you, no, you price these things right. And it's like a guy wanting to get the insane world. It's a guy wanting to change an insane world, but sadly the world will always be insane, so when you're trying to change it, you become insane. And that's kind of what happens to Michael Douglas. And yes, he has fits of anger, which I would say that's the one thing that hurts any argument I'm making, is there's a point where you see a home film where it's him, his wife, and the daughter is like verbally saying, you know, get on the horse, while she's crying, and that's when you... It's almost as if that's put in there to really showcase, no, this guy is a bad guy. Or, yeah, this guy, there's some merit to what Barbara Hershey is saying. Maybe that was for the reason, but there's a part of me that thinks if you took that out, if you took that one scene out, I think it would be an even more interesting story of, was Barbara Hershey going too far? Was she, I mean, technically she wasn't, but again, what I'm saying, which most of the film is playing off of that, and then that one scene's like, no, that guy, there's no reason for him acting that way. Yeah, I could see why she left him if he's going to act like that. But it's like the one scene that kind of discounts all the other shit I've been saying for the past 10 minutes, but other than that, again, I think that's sort of put in there to tell the audience fully, no, this guy, despite what you think, and you do feel sorry, you can understand it, no, it's, people are like, really mad, is that the scene where he shoots the racist neo-Nazi? Honestly, no. I mean, no, you're not supposed to do that, but I mean, how many, you know, Death Wish films or vigilante or revenge films where we see a similar scene like that, and but the person who does it is the hero of the piece. But it does do a nice job where I think in the hands of a script that was less than stellar, in the hands of a lesser director, and especially in the hands of a lesser actor, because I really do like Michael Douglas. He's good in Romancing the Stone. I barely remember the sequel, Jewel of the Nile. I really like The Game. Now, Michael Douglas is a solid actor. Even films like Disclosure, I didn't mind. And in lesser hands, this character would just be unlikable from the start. And until you just watch him go from A to B to C, who cares? But even with all I say, there'll be a lot of people going, no, I'm with this D-Fens guy. And you can kind of understand why they say that too. Where you, through his journey, like, he just wants to sit on a hill, and these gang members try to attack him. He's like, you trying to let a man say you're 5 minutes on your piece of shit hill? And he defends himself against his gang members and fucks them up. And the reason I said, like, Barbara Hershey comes off as a bitch at times is because, like, for example, he's like, I want to come home because I want to go there because I want to give my daughter her present. Come on, it's her birthday. And she goes, yes, I know it's her. Well, actually, before he says that, he's like, I'm calling, listen, it's her birthday. And she goes, yeah, I know it's our daughter's birthday. What do you want? And it's like, well, damn, bitch. Like, if he wants to give her a present. But then the logical part of your brain's going, well, because she knows that he's never hit her. He's never hit the girl. And even when she calls the cops are like, well, did he ever hit the girl? No. Did he ever hit you? No, I mean, he probably would. Like, probably. Like, even the cops, like, you know... It's one of those things where, as the movie goes on, and you see, like, this homeless guy just getting on him, and he doesn't hurt the guy, but he's like, fine, take the suitcase, and all there is a bit of food in there. Or he goes to the burger joint, and they stop serving lunch at, no, they stop serving breakfast at 11:30, and it's like only 11:34, and it's like, I just want some breakfast. Or it's like, what is this? Why does it look like that? Look at this. You know, why can't I have that plump, juicy sandwich that you have advertised? But look at this sorry, squash thing. And some of the people, based on their faces, even they're like, yeah, you're right. And that's the thing, they don't just make him a villain. It's not like he doesn't point the gun at people. It doesn't point the gun at innocent people. He accidentally fired it, and he's trying to calm people, and he's apologetic. Again, it's that interesting take on you making us... You know, this guy just had a really bad day where he went off the edge, but you do feel a lot of sympathy for him. It's just that he's not economically viable, as they put it. And what I was saying before is, watching this again, it made me go, in this day and age where more and more insanity is being put upon us, in my opinion, if we're not careful, we're going to see a lot more D-Fens. And he's called D-Fens because his license plate is D-F-E-N-S. And then you find out he was a defense contractor in his past. So then Robert Duvall is looking for him. All he knows is, you know, D-Fens, his license plate. But I was saying, if we don't watch out, we're going to see a lot more of these guys. Guys who are trying their best, but then they go off the deep end and off the edge. And that's going to cause a lot more headaches. And there's going to be people that go, yeah, I understand. And there's other people going, well, yeah, what you're doing is wrong. But some people will be like, yeah, I understand it in this crazy world. Again, if you try to fix it, you might end up crazy as well. And it has a good sense of humor too. At times this is a rather funny movie on purpose. Like the guy just talking shit because he's using a phone booth. And then he just shoots the fucking phone booth. It's like, I think it's out of order. And he walks away. Or like this guy hides him in the shop because he thinks that Michael Douglas is a racist guy. And Michael Douglas instead turns to him and goes, I'm an American. You are a sick asshole. Or like when he's trying to just pass by, like, don't hit him with the golf ball, but the asshole hits him, and it's like, no, you can't, in good conscience, steer the guy into a heart attack. But if someone hits you with a golf ball when you're just walking by, that thought will enter it. And that's the difference between, we have these thoughts, but in good conscience we can't act upon them, because if everyone did, that again it'd be total chaos and anarchy. But again, it's almost you're living through Michael Douglas at his character of doing this stuff that you can't do, you're not supposed to do, but in a weird way it's almost a sick wish fulfillment to an extent. And look at you, you don't die with a stupid hat. Or the construction scene where Douglas is pissed off at him. You know, I bet there's nothing to fix, huh? You guys just sit here and you just, which that thought does enter from the time to time. And on the flip side, it's like there are people in construction that do know what they're doing. There are people in construction that do work their asses off. But even they have to admit there are other crews and there are other people that do supervise where 4 people stand around and watch one guy do the work. That's not all construction. It's not. But there are some that, you know, we got 4 supervisors just staring and waiting to see. It's funny. I'm doing this review. It was light out now. Like, the more I talk, the more darker it gets. Kind of like the darker the movie gets. But again, there's sense of humor. Like, he can't do the bazooka thing. The little kid shows him how to do it, and he accidentally fires it. And you really feel sorry for the kid. He just wants to go home. Because he wants to be like it was before, but you can't put the genie back in the lamp. You can't put the Pandora, back in the box. You can't do it. So then Robert Duvall confronts him, and it's like, wait, I'm the bad guy? And then there's this realization, and then for him, there's no other choice. So he does what he does. And again, I do think they could have made Barbara Hershey's character a bit more likable. Like, again, she just, maybe because we don't have, it's not that I want to spend a lot of time with that character, it's just the few bits we see her, maybe if you add a bit more dialogue into her, I used to be in love with you, but like the further explain, yes, we could fill in the blanks, but just sometimes you do have to just say it bluntly to the audience. And maybe that would help. Like, listen, I used to be in love with you, but I can't trust you because I can't trust you around our daughter. Because, like, yeah, I know I'd be telling us what we should already know, but again, Barbara Hershey's here just, in a weird way, came off as unlikable. Again, maybe because we didn't spend a lot of time with her, or just the way her part was written was kind of poorly. I don't know, just came off that way. Robert Duvall, like I said, is interesting. This interesting, different take on a cop, where there's a bit of a humanity. Well, that's the wrong way to put it. A lot of cop characters have humanity to them, but usually the tough cop or the drunk cop or the cop who's on his last nerve. This is a very different type of cop who's been playing it safe because of what happened with his kid and his wife, like, telling him what to do. And then there's a development of his character too, like I said, being more assertive and more taking back his own life, so to speak, while Michael Douglas's character, like, falls apart. Hence the title, Falling Down. And Sally cannot get back up again. But yeah, great film, great movie, highly recommend it. Also want to give credit to the score by James Newton Howard. A very effective score that really gets into... It combines very well with the almost psychological breakdown of this character. At least when you watch it again, this kind of did what Joker did before Joker. Everyone always mentioned Taxi Driver, but this one should not be put in the... This should be talked about more. Well, there is a following, high rating on IMDb, but this is a film that I think is more with merit in today's age. Because like I said, if we don't stop this insanity, I think we're going to see a lot more of these guys. And there's going to be a good chunk of people rooting for those type of guys. And I don't want to see a remake of this, but I'm surprised there's not a remake of this. I'm sure one day they'll try. But this is the bare bones DVD. I don't have the special edition, but honestly, the features are on YouTube. There were not a ton of features, and but Michael Douglas seems fairly proud of the film, which is very nice. It's just sad that when it came out, it didn't do anything at the box office or not much at the award circuit, which that's me being allergic to that bullshit. So with that said, great movie. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.